Hello, and welcome back, pet parents. Thank you for joining. This is lesson number 2 on therapeutic massage for dogs with low back pain. Thank you for joining over your holidays. Make sure you download the PDF. Some of you may be listening online, or you might be listening on the Dogs That Can podcast. In that case, the link for the PDF is in your show notes. You want that. In the first lesson, we discussed the importance of recognizing indicators of back pain and contraindications to massage and when it's safe to proceed. We received some great feedback of you sharing how you're becoming more observant, more aware of your dog's condition. And really, this is the first step in transforming your confidence and competence when it comes to massaging your dog. The more observant you are, the more informed you are, more proactive. However, I know you are still a little bit hesitant about putting your hands onto your dog and how much pressure to use, what is going to be beneficial versus what's too much and might make them sore. And this is an absolutely valid concern. We're going to address it today. My name's Sarah McKeegan, and I'm a canine rehab therapist with a physiotherapy background, and I'm very hands-on with my clients, pun intended, even with my human clients, when it comes to teaching them how to do things like massaging their dog. Now, I can't be there with you right now, but this audio is the next closest thing. In lesson 2, I'm going to guide you through a simple process that's going to prepare yourself, your own body to breathe, to massage your dog. We're going to cover setting up the ideal environment, what position to have your dog in, and we're going to review some basic anatomy and landmarking so you know where to put your hands. And if you're still concerned about how much pressure to use, before we get to the actual strokes in lesson 3, in lesson 2, I'm going to guide you on how much pressure to use and how to adjust your pressure when you're massaging your dog. Let's get started now. Hello and welcome back to Therapeutic Massage for Dogs with Low Back Pain. And this is lesson number 2. Make sure you've downloaded your PDF. We're on page 8. Now, to get started, we're going to create the ideal environment. It's important when we are doing massage that we're really present and that we're with our dog and there's limited distractions. It's the holidays right now, if you're listening to this over Christmas time or whatever holiday you practice. And there's a lot of things going on. So when you have all of that intense energy and that buzz in your home, you don't want to put your hands on your dog right then. Instead, we want to create a space that is a little quieter, a little bit more relaxed. You can play some soothing music. I actually play Bob Marley. I know that sounds crazy, but there's some research that actually shows that dogs respond really well to reggae music. So if you like a little reggae, go ahead, or maybe you're classical, maybe you're spa. But this is also helping to soothe you a little bit and calm your energy before you get your hands on your dog. Ideally, the space is going to be limited or free of distractions, good air quality. We talked a little bit about the music. Your dog has something comfortable to lie on. Typically, when I do massage, I'm sitting behind the dog. So the dog is laying down and I'm sitting behind them. It's great to sit on a little cushion to help elevate your pelvis a little bit. And that's going to ease some of the pressure in your lower back. Now, I'm going to take you through a little exercise. We're going to do this. Take a moment if you need to grab a cushion or anything like that. But I want you to find a comfortable seated posture wherever you're at. Take a moment to close your eyes. Become a little bit more aware of how you're breathing and what energy you're holding on into your body. You might find it helpful to place your hand on your belly. Good. And I'd like you to take a really long breath in through your nose and sigh through your mouth. Make it audible. Let's do that again. Breathe in through the nose and sigh through the mouth. 2 more times. In. Exhale. Flowing it down one more time. Breathe in. Fill the belly with your breath. Exhale through the mouth. I want you to do this before you touch a dog. This is a great way to calm everything down. Don't force this. Just breathe in and breathe out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, now if you're following along with your hand out, we get right into pressure and the technique. Put your hands on your leg. And I want you to think of your leg like cookie dough or bread dough or something like that, something doughy. And you're just going to let your hands sink in. Good. And then you're going to release slowly. Okay. And I'd like you to use the broadest part of the finger pads, and you're going to press down slowly into your thigh. And then slowly release. Good. Now just use your fingertips for a moment and press down fairly firm. Notice the difference in the way that feels. Release quickly. Let go. Good. Try that again. So notice the difference. Play with this a little bit. In the first technique, I'm trying to get you to apply some pressure gradually. In the second technique, we narrowed the surface area. So we used our fingertips versus the broadest part of our fingers, and we applied pressure quickly. You probably noticed it was a little bit more pokey feeling. In the first one, your body was able to relax maybe a little bit for it. Before getting your hands onto your dog, I want you to play with this technique. Just try it on yourself. You may want to try the other leg and notice if it feels a little bit different. Adjusting your pressure and what feels good using the broader surface area and going slower versus the fingertips. Therapeutic massage is meant to get a little bit deeper. It's a little bit firmer of a touch than a relaxing massage, but we still don't want to elicit pain. That's not what we're trying to do. Some people like to go to massage and they want that massage therapist to get right in there and dig out those knots. Do not approach your dog that way. In my experience, most people come in a little bit too heavy with their hands and you're going right for what hurts right away. That doesn't really work well. Imagine for a moment that your neck hurts and you go to your massage therapist and they get in there right away. They don't warm up your body or anything like that. They just go right for the neck, right where it hurts immediately. How would your body react? For most of us, create more tension, not less. So the lesson here is less is more. It is easier to apply more pressure slowly than to take that pressure away. I want you to keep that in mind as you're going through this process and be aware of your breathing, because when we're holding our breath, our body gets tense. And that tension translates to our dogs, and our dogs might not like us touching them. So sometimes they back away from our touch because of pain, but sometimes it's just because our energy is wonky. We're off. We're distracted. We're tense, and they just don't like that tension coming to them. Look for these indicators with your dog. Be really present as you begin to proceed here. Look for signs of discomfort like excessive twitching, lip licking, leery looks. But those behavioral things could also be your energy. So make sure your energy is in check. You do some breathing. You set the mood a little bit. Maybe lower the lighting, play some reggae. Really focus on setting up the environment. Okay, let's move on. We're on page 9 in your workbook. What position should your dog be in? I like to do massage with dogs laying down. You do run into the challenge of, are they always laying on the same side? There is some benefit to having them in other postures, even sitting. My dog always presents her back to me when she's sitting. That's the position she likes. We can do this in standing. If you have a dog that uses a wheelchair, sometimes you can do a little bit of massage in the wheelchair. If you're looking at your PDF here, I have a dog standing over a peanut ball. There is some debate about fatigue in the front legs, which is why I have this dog really well supported in the PDF. I used to do this with Sammy, my German Shepherd that had degenerative myelopathy. And I'd put a raised up cushion in front of her, something that she could rest her head on so that she didn't have to hold her neck up. And she used to actually fall asleep when we would acupuncture her in her wheelchair, God love her. So there are options here, but you do want to make sure that your dog is well supported and not getting tired. And I recommend if you have them standing, that you're not standing for any extended period of time, because that can be fatiguing as well, right? The other thing is what's called sphinx or sternal. And this is a really nice posture if it's accessible to your dog. If your dog has a lot of hip arthritis or cruciate injuries from the past, this might not be accessible. If your dog has paralysis, you might think it's not accessible, but you might be able to support them in this posture and put 2 rolled up blankets on either side of them. And this is nice because it helps to realign the spine and take pressure off either side. If your dog is not used to holding this position, I wouldn't keep them here. I'd let them start in this posture, maybe let them come onto one hip and then help them roll to the other hip to get the other side. At the end of the day, you have various options, whether your dog's laying down, sitting, supported and standing for short periods, and whether you're doing it in side lying or in this more of a Sphinx pose. You're going to do what your dog wants to do. Often when I go to massage my dog, Shubi, it's rare that I can get myself in behind her. She's laying on her dog bed, which is up next to the wall. So I'm coming in from the front, not from the side. Be aware as you begin to proceed and get your hands on your dogs that you're also not looming over them, especially if they do have some pain. Dogs are very spatially aware, space sensitive, and they don't want you right up and over them as you come in. Instead, I bring myself down to my dog's level. But we're going to cover this in the next lesson, in lesson 3. First, we need to talk a little bit about some basic anatomy and what muscles we're targeting. We are on page 11 in your workbook. Look at your dog from the side, whether they're standing or even when they're laying down, and look at where the rib cage ends. I'll just give you a moment to take a look. This area, if you were to take your hand from where that rib cage ends and slide straight upward, you're into the lumbar spine. The lumbar spine is the low back. Where the rib cage and the thoracic spine ends and the lumbar and low back region begins, this could be a really sensitive area and a really common place to have a lot of problems, especially those associated with intervertebral disc disease. So be cognizant that your dog might not want a lot of pressure there, okay? The muscles that we're going for are the apaxial muscles, and these muscles travel along the sides of the spine. If you just gently touch the top of your dog's back in the midline, you're going to feel what's called the spinous processes. Along either side of the spinous processes are 3 main muscles that make up the apaxial muscles. These muscles have important roles. They help to coordinate movement. They also resist movement. They help with the trunk movement itself, and they help to stabilize the spine. And those are the muscles that we're targeting with our massage. Those are the muscles that may get tense when your dog is compensating, or if they have some low back pain, if they have some injuries, you're going to get some tension in those muscles. On little dogs, you can find them about a finger width off of the midline, and bigger dogs are about 2 finger widths. Take a moment to identify where those landmarks are, where the rib cage is, where the low back is, and where the apaxial muscles are. And don't worry about assessing them at this point. We're going to do that as we learn some of the strokes in the next lesson, in lesson 3. Hopefully in this lesson, you've learned a little bit about how to set up the space, the environment, to support a therapeutic massage for your dog, and how to breathe and just really kind of ground yourself before you even get your hands on your dog. We talked a little bit about pressure and how to adjust your pressure and what your dog might like versus not like. And I want you to practice that a little bit on your own leg until you feel a little bit more comfortable. And then we also identified some important landmarks and what muscles we're going to target that run alongside the midline, the apaxial muscles. So I would love for you to share your feedback and learn a little bit about how your learning is going. And if you have any more questions as we begin to embark onto lesson number 3, send us an email. Your feedback helps me tailor the learning experience to what your needs are. It's really important. Up next, our final lesson in which we're going to learn some actual strokes of getting our hands on the dog. We're looking forward to that. And until then, be sure to do the corresponding worksheets that come along with the PDF. Again, this is all meant to help you feel more confident massaging your dog and to help them have less pain and ultimately move better and feel better. So we'll see you in lesson number 3. And as always, thank you for listening. Oh yeah, One more thing. This is meant to be educational and help you feel empowered to help your dog and advocate for your dog. It is not intended in any way to replace any medical advice that you're given by your veterinarian, your rehab therapist, or another qualified professional. Got it? Good. See you in our third and final lesson.